Welcome. In episode 138 of the Walking Leader podcast, I continue the series with learning those soft skills. And it's important to learn those soft skills because, again, throughout your life, throughout your working professional life, and even in your personal life, people are going to see you for who you are, what you become, what you've made of yourself, and what others have molded, created, gave your core, I'm talking your foundation, who you are and how you were raised. And yes, how you were raised does impact what you do later in life. If you had a good upbringing, then you know that it takes work to do good. And if you had a bad upbringing, then you do know what not to do. And yes, it is that simple. Sometimes people say, well, no, it's where I was born, it's how I was raised, it's how many parents I had that defines you. Yes, but it doesn't have to make you. So that's why I'm talking about these soft skills, because they deal a lot with what we were raised, how we grew, and what we've learned along the way, but it's what we've done and what we've chosen, what our own choices are in life. And with that being said, 138 is all about work ethic. And work ethic is one of those you can't learn it, but you do learn it. It can't be taught formally in school. There's no class that's called Work Ethic 101. It just can't be done. There might be Ethics 101 in the discussion of ethical issues and ethics, but there is nothing that says, okay, well, here's how you have a good work ethic and you do this. No, you do it by observing others. You do this by being around others. And you do that from a very, very early age. One of my earliest memories of my grandfather, my hero, he's no longer with us, but he'll always be my hero. He's the one I base a lot of my current work, my future work, how I'm raising my kids. I'm basing that off of him and what he taught me in that brief time we had together. The earliest memory of my grandfather, getting back to that, the earliest memory is me standing in the front yard of his house and looking up, and there's a ladder, and there I see him on the roof of the house, and he's working and he's repairing the roof on the house that he built. And that's my earliest memory of him working, not of him laughing, not of him, well, he looked like he was having a good time because there was family around. I do remember that. There was family around, so he was having a good time because he was in his element. He was around the people he loved. But he was doing the thing he knew what to do, and that is what had to get done. He was a World War II veteran. He came back. He had 2 children prior to going into the war, came back, had several more, had a couple, 3 more, and 3 more. And there was other situations. I'm not going to get into them. But he knew what he had to do to survive through the war. He came back, raised a family, and here I am. And the one thing he did, the big takeaway from all of that is that he taught me that, yes, if there's work that has to get done, get out there and do it. And if you can do it, do it. And that's it. That's right there. That's that early impression of me watching him working. That's where the work ethic comes from. He got up there and did it because it had to get done. And a lot of times that's where I get my motivation, is because it's got to get done. No one else is going to do it. Sometimes you just got to step up and do it. I didn't see when I started writing, I'm going to go back a little bit, sound a little bit selfish, but when I started writing The Walking Leader, I didn't see any rules to walking around and leading by walking around and managing by walking around. People talked about it, and a great author, mentor of mine, he wrote a book, In Search of Excellence, and he mentions it in there, but there was no rules to do it. So was I doing it right? Was I doing it wrong? How do I do it? So because there were no rules, what was to stop me from creating the rules? Nothing, absolutely nothing. So the book was born. And since then, other things that I've done, I've wanted to always write a fictional story. Well, I did it. I want my kids to outdo me, to outsucceed me. And because that's what parents should be, is they should be those individuals that encourage their kids, that encourage and motivate 100% of the time, not when they pick and choose and not when others are watching. That's what I want for my kids, is to be successful and to outdo me and to outdo. So that's why I do a lot, so that they can do more. And so far, so good. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. But, at the end, time will tell. And those around me, my family, my friends, my colleagues, coworkers, I push them and I'll tell them and I'll say things. Even though I don't supervise them and at work, it doesn't matter. I still push them. And when I do supervise them, I push them even harder because, again, I'm the one doing this. What are they doing? See, because everybody will excuse things and say things, oh, well, I don't have time. I'm too old. I don't have the money. I don't have this, that. My parents were divorced, blah, blah, boo-hoo. Who cares? You get out there and you do it. And you make it happen. And you work hard for it. And then guess what? You keep doing it. You don't rest on your laurels. Because when you start resting on your laurels, well, guess what? Time passes by. Time is gone. Next thing you know, you're talking about something that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. And what have you got? What have you done lately? So it's about the work ethic. And the work ethic is what has to drive you 100% of the time. It can't break you. Your work ethic can never break you because it's yours. You built it. You created it. You know your limits. Therefore, your work ethic can never, ever break you, but it can make you. And it will always make you. It'll keep pushing you going forward. It's the moment you stop going forward. It's the moment you've given up. And I detest people that have given up way before their time. You know, my grandfather, he passed away, but he was going all the way to the very end. He kept going all the way to the very end. And I'd like to think when my time comes, that's exactly how I want to go. I want to keep pushing all the way to the very end because it's that work ethic that lets you know that, hey, you're still alive. You're still kicking. And you're still making a difference and you're making an impact. And that's what it's all about. So that's why I brought this into the leaders, the walking leaders learning those soft skills, because it is a soft skill. It's a life skill. It's a professional skill. It's a personal skill. It's a growth. It's a human being skill. It's who you are. It's what you're made of. It's the stuff you're made of. And folks, have a strong work ethic and the world is your oyster. It's that simple. Others will hate you for it, but guess what? That's their work ethic. That's their work ethic. And that's how they were raised. And that's how they were built. But again, you don't need to worry about that. They're going to keep making the excuses because that's all they know how to do. You keep doing and you keep delivering and they'll keep making the excuses. But you keep growing and growing. They'll just keep growing and growing with the excuses. So work hard. Keep working. Put in that hard work because one day it's virtuous and it is definitely one day it will be worthy of reward and the reward will be huge. So keep at it. So again, I do invite you to listen to the Walking Leader Podcast, episode 138. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Get back to work.